say kvass, pomegranate juice or juice or
Back to the channel, welcome back to Barely Russian. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's a flashback to our time in Armenia when we were traveling. Armenia was the last country that we were in before we actually got to enter Russia. It was actually where we got our Russian visas. Unfortunately, we lost our main footage when we had those hard drive issues, but we've managed to get together a lot of the other footage that we had, and we put together just a little bit of what our time was like in Armenia. Armenia is an amazing country. It's well worth a visit if you can ever go there. We hope you enjoy it. If you do, give us a thumbs up, a like, and comment down below if you've been to Armenia or if it's one of the places you'd like to visit. So enjoy the video. This area is called the Cascades. It's a famous park right in the middle of Yerevan, which is the capital of Armenia. And it's a beautiful area that they've done up really nicely. And the park is full of artwork and sculptures that you can wander around and look at and admire. And it's all free to look at. And it's a very lovely place to spend time and admire the sculptures and just enjoy walking through the streets. The main center of the park is this big art gallery which they've built into the hills which actually surround Armenia, and it's all built out of limestone. It's an amazing structure, and you can see the 5 levels that go up, and each level has all these sculptures and all the carving that's done into the rock work, to the actual stonework. It's a really fascinating area, and all inside is actually is more art galleries on the inside, but this is the outside. You can carving and stonework and sculptures that decorate each level as you go up and up and up. And up the top is a beautiful lookout that gives you a nice lookout over the city, and you can see the outline of the city, and on a nice clear day you can always see Mt Ararat. So here we're walking to some markets. There's lots of amazing markets in Yerevan, and we come across this beautiful big old grapevine, just huge, growing up in the side of the road.
That's amazing.
And as you walk around the streets of Yerevan, there's just so many interesting things to see. There's an old army vehicle that was outside a retired veterans center, and they'd place this outside for people to look at and to admire as you walked around. There are many interesting things just placed randomly all around the city as you walk around, because Yerevan is a city that's very easy to walk around. It's not a big city. It's a very friendly, cozy city, and it's it's very nice to walk around the city. We were walking past and we came upon this big eatery lunch hall, and these ladies were making the traditional lavash bread, hachapuri, which is traditional for the whole Caucasus region, and it's just amazing to watch them working, and the bread was amazing. Armenia's got some beautiful food. It's a really nice place. The food in Armenia was amazing. It's always fresh and tastes so amazing. But just seeing this is the way they've cooked bread for millennia in these pots that go into the ground, and you can see here that they get the flour or the dough, and they spread it out and they place it on the inside of these brick ovens. It's very interesting to see how they do it. Очень интересно. After we left here, we went on to another market where they sell all sorts of dried fruit and produce, and you can get any sort of dried fruit here, and it's just amazing the different dried fruits and fresh fruits and different drinks you can try.
You say kvass, pomegranate juice or
There's another market that we came to, and this market is in this really tall building, and above all the first floor stores, they built second story floors, and then they have all these little archways that you walk over and going from stall to stall to stall, and they sell everything from cookware to bicycles to baby gear to camping gear. Just about pretty much anything you'd want you can find in here. You just have to work your way through and find you through all these little archways and tunnels, and it was really nice to explore and to just admire all the things they had for sale. The next market we went to was the outside markets, and this market sells more artwork and trinkets and souvenirs, and this is all very much within the heart of Yerevan city, and it's just really nice to walk around and just explore these markets and to see all the things that they have for sale. You can see they sell knives and all sorts of things here. Very interesting. As you walk around the city of Yerevan, all throughout the city there are these little fountains. They're just all over the place, and with fresh water running through them all the time. It's beautiful, clear, fresh spring water. It's always cold as it comes out of the ground. It's just such a treat to be able to stop anywhere and get some fresh water, and it's beautiful. We used them a lot of times. Another thing that Yerevan is really well known for is its fountains all through a lot of the big main street parks that they have. They have all these fountain structures set up, and Armenia has a lot of fresh water, which is amazing. And these parks are so refreshing on a warm day, and you can see here even the little bird is enjoying just cooling himself off in these parks, and just the water makes everything seem so fresh and clean, and it's really lovely to enjoy these free attractions all through the middle of Yerevan. And you can see all around the outside they have cafes, so it's beautiful just to stop and eat and this is another park that was just recently finished. It was actually built by the Vidanian family and gifted to the city. They completely covered the cost of construction, and they will completely cover the cost of maintenance for the next 99 years. And the park is just amazing. You can see there's so many people come and enjoy this park. There are fountains, and they're all choreographed and all work together. In the evening there's lights, and it's just, you can spend so much time here. It's a beautiful park, and just it's an amazing gift to the residents of Yerevan and to tourists who come and to see it. It's a wonderful spot to just enjoy, to relax, especially on the warmer days, and you can watch these fountains for hours, which is so well done. Towards the end of the park, they have a special area where you can run through the fountains, and there's a kids playground at the end, like a kids little water park where the fountains come up and the kids can run through them. Here's an archway they put in that you can walk through, and on a warm evening or even on a warm day, it's just wonderful just to walk through there, and you just get a little bit wet, it cools you down, and you can see how much fun it is for everybody. You can see at night time that the place just comes alive with the lights that go on, and different coloured lights, and the way it's all choreographed together. It's just truly amazing. It's one of the nicest water parks I've ever seen, and I've seen a few. It's like theme park quality. And crowds and crowds of people come here to enjoy it most evenings. This is another one of the parks. It's right in the heart of the city, and it's full of these sort of living sculptures that are interactive that you can sit in and enjoy. And the park itself is beautiful, and they have these little statues all around the place. The parks are so well kept, they're clean, and it's such a friendly place. And the Armenian people are very friendly people and very hospitable people. There's another one of those fountains that are just everywhere throughout the city, and you don't need to carry a water bottle because these fountains are everywhere. And if you've never been to Armenia, I'd encourage you to go. It's a beautiful country with so much history, and just it's a country that's full of culture, full of good food, beautiful parks like this, really well kept, very clean. It was definitely a special place for us to visit. You can see here I found a bear, so I was pretty happy about that. And yes, you are allowed to sit on the bears. Another one of the sculptures, a piano. Mrs. B is going to find out to play the piano. She really does play the piano, but this one actually doesn't work. It's just a statue. It's just a sculpture. There's so many interesting cafes and places you can eat here, and this is a cafe that's linked to a bookstore. And we stopped and had a coffee here, and it was just a beautifully decorated spot. It was so nice. So many spots. If you like to eat out or it's quite affordable, Armenia is a beautiful place to go. The climate is amazing. They have a very nice climate, a dry climate, and lots of things to see and do. Latte, something like that? Good. As you walk around the streets of Yerevan, I mentioned before, there's so many interesting things to see, and here's a guy who decked out a little car and he used it as a shop to sell souvenirs. You can hire these little scooters, little Harley type scooters, and cruise around the city. They're very popular. We were walking down one of the alleyways, and this was just right in the middle. And there's somebody who's just keeping these little ducklings right there, and they can get to hide in their little cubby that they've got for them, but very cute. I mentioned that Armenia's got lots of great restaurants. This is right near the Republic Square, which is sort of the heart of the Yerevan city. And this restaurant is just amazing. It was really good service, really good food, and the level of service was some of the best I've ever had, and really interesting. They come and they do a lot of this sort of things where they prepare the food in front of you, and it's a very entertaining and delicious place to eat. The restaurant's called the Sherat, which is basically the Armenian name for that ladle. The staff are friendly and courteous, and it's a great atmosphere. They have live bands. It's a really nice place, and if you go to Yerevan, stop in and check it out. That day in Armenia happened to be Children's Day, and they hosted this massive concert in the middle of the town square, the Republic Square, and thousands of people came, and the concert was all designed for families and children, and it was a really nice night. We hired a car for a day and a half so we could explore some places outside of Yerevan, and we drove through the local towns and villages. We were heading up into a big lake at the top in the mountains there, and as you're driving around, particularly around in the evening, you see a lot of cows on the road, and people have had them out, grazing on the hills, and then sort of at 5 o'clock at night they bring them in and they walk down the roads, and all the cars have to work their way through them. It's a really nice country feel. We came into one of the villages, and as we just drove around the corner, these two little pigs came squealing down out of a driveway along the main road with this guy running after them, and they'd obviously escaped from somewhere, and thankfully they didn't run onto the road, they didn't get hurt, and they ended up running into a neighbour's yard, but it was fun to see. As you're driving around, you can see all sorts of different cars and vehicles, and this guy's been very creative with his car. He's turned his little sedan into a ute. So Armenia is full of these old monasteries and temples. It's got an amazing history, and they're all just carved into these amazing places in the rocks and the valleys, and just amazing to see. These were built 2,000 years ago, and they were carved into the sides of hills, and way before there was any modern machinery. They're just breathtaking to look at and to see. As we were driving around the next day, there was all these storks had made nests on top of these posts. It was really interesting to see. I haven't seen it in Australia before, but right on top of not all, but a lot of posts had these nests on them with birds with little chicks in them. This monastery was built over 1,000 years ago, and it's famous for its views of Mt Ararat, where Noah's Ark landed after the flood, but also many hundreds of years ago, when one of the rulers came to power, a guy came and accused him of harsh treatment of a particular. He killed a young virgin that he knew, and he was imprisoned in a pit for 18 years on this site, and he only survived because an older lady came and fed him bread and water and kept him alive for those 18 years, and he was released after that. But that's one of its reasons why it's so famous. But it's just an amazing building. Underneath the building, inside the building, you can climb down into these little caverns where they'd had dug years and years ago, and there's all little sacred spots that you can look at and explore, and you have to go all straight down into these little pits to get to them. But really amazing and interesting. It's just phenomenal what happened thousands of years ago, and the construction that they used to build it. Here I am coming up out of one of these little areas that you can climb down and see. This is another monastery that's right at the end of a valley, and it's just carved into the side of the hill, and it's just awe-inspiring. It's a beautiful valley that you drive through to get there, and unfortunately we lost the footage, but it's just amazing to see these things, and they're just so impressive as you drive up and see them, and it's so interesting to walk around and to understand that these were built so many years ago. Just before we arrived at the next monastery we were going to, we stopped at a little roadside stop, and this stray dog came up, and he was super hungry, and we had very little food, and but we gave him what he had. This is actually the view from the lookout where we stopped, where the stray dog was, and it's just beautiful. The green grass into this lake, and there was horses grazing there, and there was some cattle down one end and some goats as well, with the shepherd there just looking after them. And this lake is actually the largest freshwater lake in the Caucasus region, and it supplies a lot of the fresh water for not only Armenia but a lot of the countries around it. And it's got a beautiful outlook over into the monastery and then out over the lake. You can see in the water that there are still some ancient foundations and ruins that are now partially submerged, and some are actually completely submerged, and where the lake has covered them over. And then around the edge of the lake there's the monastery and the ancient buildings that are still there that you can go in and explore and see. Armenia is a really beautiful country, and it's not a big country, but it's got so much history and culture. It's a beautiful place to stop and have a holiday, and even if you've only got 2 or 3 days, you can really enjoy Armenia and get a lot out of it. As we drove back into the city of Yerevan, we stopped at the Armenian Genocide Memorial. After the First World War, the Ottoman Empire actually came through and wiped out half of the Armenian population, trying to wipe it out completely. And they killed over 1.5 million people, and they've built this huge memorial that sits on one of the hills on the outskirts of Yerevan. So this is the day before we had to leave, and Mrs. B and I were just enjoying a nice meal together overlooking the Republic Square, which is right in the heart of Yerevan. It's full of these famous buildings, and just enjoying a meal together before we had to fly out the next day. Alright, good news, we've got our visas from the consulate here in Armenia. That means we can fly tomorrow, so we'll go back to the hotel, get everything packed up, everything ready to go, and looking forward to seeing our kids real soon.